good just got better with the more creamy, more chocolatey KitKat. Have a break.
Welcome to the show. Today we take a look at the confectionery business. Nestle Confectionery is one of the more prominent divisions within Nestle Malaysia, of course already a household name. Joining me today is Sachin Goel, the Business Executive Officer of Nestle Confectionery here in Nestle Malaysia. Welcome to the show, Sachin.
Thank you.
I think I want to go through with the step-by-step process. How does Nestle Confectionery fit in the whole family of Nestle, and how big are you in terms of contributing revenue, in terms of contributing sales towards the Nestle bottom line?
So, we are a prominent player. From Malaysia point of view, we are actually the biggest confectionery in the market. For Nestle, of course, therefore we are also very significant. And we are very much part of the family of the whole Nestle offerings over here. Nestle in Malaysia, as you know, is a very well-established company over 100 years. And we've been doing our share of contribution to the Nestle family.
So what are some of the products, what are the brands that Nestle Confectionery carries?
Oh, sure, KitKat, of course, is a household name. It's actually the biggest brand in Malaysia. It's our flagship brand globally and also in Malaysia. Apart from KitKat, we also have the brand of Crunch, which is a wafer-coated chocolate compound, as well as we have Milo Nuggets, which is leveraging on the Milo brand.
And of course, not many people know that Nestle Confectionery has a factory here in Malaysia. How much of that is significant to the business?
Oh, absolutely, Ibrahim. That's a very, very important part of this whole business we've established over here, because that's where we manufacture our product range. It's been there since 1994. And we've been investing into the factory, expanding its scope, and actually it's a center of excellence for this part of the world. So we are really using that factory to supply products, of course, to our Malaysian consumers, but also beyond the shores of Malaysia. So it actually goes to more than 11 countries from Malaysia, all the way to countries such as Canada, and then of course very much a regional supplier. So it's a center of excellence for the whole of Southeast Asia.
When you say center of excellence, does it mean more than manufacturing? It also means research and development, consumer tasting, consumer segmentation, all that involved?
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely, because we do have a very involved, I would say, R&D program anyway globally as a leading F&B manufacturer. But we have also what we call a group application team, which is based in this factory in Chembong, and the day-to-day work is to really keep on making sure they can come out with new products and improve the current products, which can delight the local consumers. Other than that, of course, we do keep on investing into the whole facility to bring in new products as well. So there's a lot of capital investments which are being brought into this factory over the course of the years to bring out new products. So if I look back as an example, a few years back, we had some standard KitKat, which is a 2-finger, 4-finger chunky, which everyone loves. But in the last few years, we've really come up with a lot of new products from the KitKat franchise and family as well. And some of these are first time in the world, which are being made from this factory. So proudly to say so, from a Malaysian perspective, we've introduced a product like Rubies, which is really the first time KitKat has gone into gifting globally, and it's made in this factory in Chembong.
Of course, COE is more than integrating the various operations and intellectual businesses of the various markets that you operate. It's also trying to understand the various markets that you operate in. And we all know that for companies like Nestle, particularly Nestle Confectionery, some of the taste buds of the consumers vary from market to market. How do you then try to manage the various palates of your consumers across these various markets and try to make it in-house in one geographical area at that one factory of yours? How do you manage that?
That's an excellent question. I mean, if you look at it, some of the products and some of the categories are more global in nature. Chocolates, you can say, tends towards that. Having said that, we still try and tweak the recipes to more local profile. So we do treat the consumers, if I may say, the Southeast Asian, as one holistic consumer set. But having said that, we still try, and in fact, when we do our consumer validations, and before we develop the recipes, we do check with the consumers in the markets like Thailand, in Indonesia, Philippines, along with the Malaysian consumers, and then make sure that what we are able to dish out and produce is going to be really delighting these consumers across the board.
How does Nestle Confectionery plan to move ahead ahead with the changing landscape of the consumer market? Is there more to expect from Nestle Confectionery?
Always. We've, like I said, in the last few years, there's been a lot of emphasis on innovation. We brought on a huge pipeline of new products. And we, in fact, are just in the midst of launching what has been a global initiative. We've been renovating even our existing KitKat, and we've come out with this KitKat renovation, which is called More Chocolatey, More Creamy. And this is really where we've gone and done changes in the recipe. And you can imagine the KitKat, the global scale of this brand, to go and change recipe is not something you do every day, and it's not something you want to risk, so to say. But we've also been closely listening to our consumers, what they seek out. And we've gone ahead and done a more rich offering where we increase the chocolate, we increase the milk content, and actually reduce some sugar. And yet it's while maintaining a signature taste. And this initiative has been done globally and is being done also in Malaysia currently as we speak.
A few months ago, when I interviewed your CEO of Nestle Malaysia, Alois Hoffbauer, here on that show, on that set, one of my core areas that I want to explore is the social responsibility that Nestle has in bringing a healthier option for consumers in the market, amongst which is trying to reduce sugar content. Of course, there's a lot of hype and also noises, I suppose, from social media on the content, sugar content in your products, be it Milo, KitKat, whatever have you. Is this makeover a more structural change in your company in trying to offer a more balanced, healthier option for the consumers out there?
Absolutely. I think it's clear as a leading food and beverage company, we are also pretty much singularly, I would say, focused on driving nutrition, health and wellness for our consumers. And we take our responsibility in this section very, very seriously. And this goes with our pledges we've done along with WHO in terms of sugar reduction. And we have, in fact, been reducing sugar from all, if not all, most of our products over the course of the period. Similarly, this is the start of the journey for a confectionery product like KitKat, where we are changing the recipe, reducing some of the sugar content. It's the first step in the right direction. And again, we take our responsibility seriously as a leading player in the segment.
How do you think the market would react following this makeover?
So, we also did some consumer validation, and it's early days, and of course the consumer validation before going and finalizing a recipe of this magnitude, you can imagine the work involved was very, very significant. For over the last 1 year, we've been tweaking, developing and fine-tuning the recipe. And the consumer validation showed that actually, and I can quote the figure, that 84% of the consumers prefer the new recipe going forward with all the changes we've done. But so we have to make sure we first and fundamentally delight our consumers while we also go on improving the product compositions.
And of course, do we expect other changes in other variants among your other product lines outside of the KitKat brand?
Well, within the KitKat, first to start out with, we also have a range of, which is again very much liked in this part of the world, a green tea KitKat, which is really with matcha tea. And we've just in the midst of just launched that also with enhancing the tea, more matcha, as well as reduction of sugar. And that's a very significant, you can actually, in terms of even taste profile, you can make out there's a sugar reduction which is happening. We've just launched a green tea with red bean, again with a similar kind of, giving different exposure. But beyond KitKat as well, we continue initiatives across board and the breadth of, the company.
The very notion of consumer companies really excites me. Because of my line of work, I have to explore companies in all the sectors possible, right? In defense, in government-linked companies, in oil and gas. But no other sector excites me more than consumer companies, particularly F&B consumer companies like Nestle Confectionery. Because, in my opinion, these kind of companies really put the pulse on the market. They really know the changes that the consumers are going through over the course of time. Countries get richer over time, they get a little bit more matured over time. Trends and fads take place. Matcha, I think 10 years ago was unheard of in this part of the world. Suddenly, my kids are literally tearing down the supermarket trying to get the matcha KitKat when I say, no candy for you altogether, right? what has been going through in the thought process of Nestle Confectionery over time, particularly in the evolution of consumers? What can you share with us on the changes of consumer behavior that you have seen over the past few,
That's
decades?
an excellent question, Ibrahim. I mean, if you look back for many years, it was, I wouldn't say same old, but the consumer expectations were to get the same product with the highest quality standards, and that was more or less the expectation. So make sure that's available, it's visible, it's accessible for consumers. That was really the need earlier. But it changed, I would say, over a period of time to saying, hey, the consumer is also expecting the product to be of not only the highest quality, but also freshness. And the fresher the product, and therefore you have to make sure your supply chain, your value chain is such that it's, from factory to, so to say, the farm to the fork, so to say, has to be the quickest. But now in the last few years, the consumer has become very discerning. And if you look at the trends, it's more about, personalization, it's customization, it's self-expression, and the consumer wants even his chocolate bar to be designed the way he or she wants it. And to that extent, I would say I'm proud to share with you, and we not too far back, about a year and a half back, have introduced within the KitKat franchise, again because it's such a powerful brand in this part of the world and so much aligned with the consumers, we've gone ahead and launched a retail boutique of KitKat Chocolaterie, where the consumers can go and really create their own KitKats. So this was something, when I started, with the company, I wouldn't have even dreamt that you could do these kind of things. But today, anything is possible. You can dream it, you can do it. And we are very proud to say that we have got this offering in the market where you can go and actually literally create 10,000 types of KitKat from the retail store, which is located in one of the prominent malls in Mid-Valley in Kuala Lumpur. Not only that, but you can even use e-commerce today. And you can literally, sitting from your home, living home, order a KitKat which you design it the way you want in the Klang Valley and have it delivered to you in 48 hours. So that's where it is going, and we are looking at not stopping there, but to your point, we are also looking at, so that's one offering, but can we even go and industrialize those offerings, make even our manufacturing footprint flexible, so that tomorrow when the consumers, whatever they can think of, we try and cater to their demands.
It's not easy, I have 3 kids, it's not easy appeasing to all 3 of them at one go. I don't know how many million customers you have. How's the game like? Is it trying to appease to the maximum possible, possibility of them, or go after the more profitable segment, appease them the max, and hopefully the rest will follow suit?
Fact is, a brand like KitKat, which is such a flagship brand, it has to do both. It has to reach out to the masses. It has to make sure everybody enjoys their signature taste of KitKat. At the same time, for the more discerning consumers, and the ones who are more, let's say the faster end of exploring and wanting to experiment and other, lead of the pack, so to say, you have to keep on experimenting, bringing out new products, and you have to be faster on the draw than competition. That's the name of the game. And in that spirit, I'm pretty happy to say Malaysia is actually pretty much in the forefront.
All right, Sachin, I wish you all the best, and I wish your business all the best, because indeed, again, as I mentioned earlier, the consumer businesses like Nestle does put a pulse on the market, and it does reflect what the country is going through at any given stage. I've been speaking to Sachin Goel, the Business Executive Officer of Nestle Confectionery. If you missed this interview, just go on to AWANI.com, search for all our interviews there. Also, our new proposition, which is AWANI Review, just head on to awanireview.com. There are very, very great, insightful interviews there. I'm Ibrahim Sani, thanks very much for watching, and until next time.